All right, for the next probably 4 or 5 videos or so, we'll talk about the disability categories under IDEA. I am going to take a few of the categories and make them their standalone videos because they're just such important topics, and they're all obviously like the more common disabilities I see working in the school system. So, the first disability category we'll go over is autism. So, autism is defined in different ways depending on if you're looking at the DSM definition or IDEA definition. So, under IDEA, it's a developmental disability significantly affecting verbal and nonverbal social communications and social interactions, and it generally is developed before age 3. So it's a very general definition of autism, and it does also outline that there are behaviors related to autism, which we can get into a little bit. But so the other part to autism is it also had an amendment to include that it can develop after the age of 3. So, for instance, would be we did have where I work, we had a 6th grader who was displaying characteristics to autism. We went ahead and assessed and saw a lot of evidence to support that. So sometimes children just aren't caught at that age. So I will say in autism, the earlier the intervention or the better the outcomes for that individual. So under IDA, autism also has to be affecting educational performance or educational or their education in some way. So whether it be through academics or whether it be through social functioning to where they're getting in trouble quite a bit, or they're just struggling to complete work because they just can't communicate properly. So I will say on the DSM side of the diagnosis, depending on which level of autism, you might see more or less of an impact. So that's just from my own personal experience. So, and some of those behavior traits that you might see are when we say social or verbal and nonverbal communication. So we're talking about the eye contact. We're talking about where they look at, where they look at when they're talking to somebody. Do they have reciprocity in communication? Do they talk back and forth, basically? So, and then verbal communication. Do they have speech delays? Are they nonverbal? So a lot of our students with autism are also nonverbal. So those are all things that we're looking at. And then obviously, do they have some of the more stable character traits like stemming, preoccupation with topics or objects, non-functional use of things? So do they do a lot of tapping? Do they do a lot of like repetitive movements, that kind of thing? So we call it echolalia. Do they constantly repeat what you say? Do they have scripting where they're just like saying lines in movies and things like that? So there's a lot of things we look at. But under IDA, we look at, do they show all those traits? And then also, do they have the impact on education? So any disability category in IDA is a 2-pronged. There's the disability and the need. So do they need special academic services? So, all right, hope that clarifies as far as overview of what autism is. Maybe I'll get into some more specific topics of intervention, things like that for parents. But making sure that your student is categorized under the right disability is really important as well. So, all right. Next one we'll talk about is other elements.